And welcome to a special edition of CyberPapa's new battlefield. My name is Eric Bellardo, and today we're going to have an exciting show about NFTs and how to protect yourself in this world of cybercrime and making sure that you can protect your assets. So with me as a special co-host tonight is Alberto Daniel Hill. Alberto, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Eric. Here in Uruguay with 32 Celsius degrees, it's really hot. I think you are not that lucky as me. And well, I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Unfortunately, here in Philadelphia, it is about 19 degrees. Very, very cold. So thank you very much for being here. We started talking about NFTs and crypto security, and we've been seeing so many people getting scammed out of their assets. And we decided to put this special show for all of our viewers out there. What are you seeing in the industry now, and what are the kind of scams that you're seeing?
Well, actually, I have to tell you, first of all, when it comes to NFTs, it was some, I mean, I've been into blockchain, cryptocurrencies for more than 5 years. Uh, I know something about it, about that and security, but when it comes to NFTs, it was a topic that didn't really catch my attention. In fact, it was something that I was looking in spaces, in Twitter spaces, as group of people that were having pictures of animals getting together, and I was thinking, what are these people doing? I mean, I'm not getting into those groups, no way. And then those groups started getting bigger and bigger, and I was thinking, wow, this might be a cult or something like that. Anyway, at one point I realized I was starting to see tweets from these people saying, okay, I lost everything in my cryptocurrency wallet. I lost all my earnings from the selling of my arts. I got my artwork compromised. Uh, I was a victim of a scam. I had a problem with my OpenSea account. That is a place where they sell arts, and I was seeing that, but in a way that it was so frequently that I thought, what's going on here? I mean, this pattern is not usual. What's going on? So I said, okay, Alberto, in order to know what's going on, you have to take a deep breath and enter into that community of weird
Yeah,
people with
yeah.
pictures of animals. So I took a deep breath and I got into that community, those communities. And well, ever since then, I am still in those communities, and I realized that I was stupid. I mean, those guys really know they're in a field that is amazing. It's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful
Community,
scenario
yeah.
where artists are creating wonderful things, but it's a place where things are very immature. So when it comes to security, among other issues, they are having a lot of issues, and that's what it was explaining what I was seeing. A lot of scams, a lot of frauds, hacking, people losing everything. So, okay, you know me, Eric, and you know that I'm always trying to help other people in
Yeah.
security, creating awareness about different topics, cyber harassment, cyberbullying, well, talking about fake news, disinformation, misinformation. Well, I'm always trying to cover different topics to help other people. And in this case, I felt like if I'm not part of the solution, I am part of the problem. And I was seeing that there was a big problem in NFTs and security, so I decided to take action to start doing things to help these people. Well, among those things was understanding the community, the people, getting to know them, and I met many people there. Among them, there are three people that are going to be here. That I really appreciate that. So, if you want, we can introduce them.
All right. Let's first tell our audience. First of all, please, if you're out there, please click the like on down below here. That's going to help us a lot. Share the message. Also, let's introduce ourselves. So, my name is Eric Bellardo, like I said, and I have been in the industry for about 32 years doing cybersecurity, not only in this community, but across the world. And now I'd like to introduce our guests for today. So, let me bring them along here. And how are all of you doing? Let's start
Mm.
with Chris. Tell
Hey,
us a little bit
everybody.
about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Chris Keller, also known as Driving Tip Daily. I've been in the blockchain space for a little over a decade and would love to educate and help others in the NFT space and other blockchain technologies.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Delta, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Trevor Lawrence. I go by Coin Comments on Twitter. Also, Delta in the information security space. I'm an independent security researcher. Started getting into computers at the age of 9. I got into some trouble at age 11. Been doing this now since about the age of 11 is when I really got serious and started learning about it. Um, I like to find bugs and I like to figure out ways to exploit them. And in finding out that knowledge and learning that knowledge, I've also learned how to help people keep secure. I've heard some horror stories in the blockchain community. I know one person, I won't use any names, but I know one person who showed the wrong person her crypto wallet and ended up a real life capture the flag contest. They hacked her car, they stole her identity, they stole all her crypto. I mean, it's very serious.
Well, let's go ahead and let's introduce Dalila. Last but not least, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name's Delilah. I go by NFT Princess 21 on Twitter, and I'm a digital artist. I recently started doing digital art and getting into NFTs this past year, but I've been in the crypto space for kind of a bit. My brother has actually been in it for quite a while, so he introduced me. But art has always been like a passion of mine. So digital art is super new to me, but it's kind of crazy to see all different people from all over the world doing the same thing, and we have this little community and this little family. But it's super dangerous, and it's really nice that we have this community to help each other and protect each other, but also like reach out to others all over and show them that we're here for you if you have any questions. You don't have to do this alone, but it is really scary out there, so always be aware and only trust your friends.
That's right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. The first thing that I'd like to do is pose the basics of security for all crypto NFT users. The first one is choose a secure wallet. How does one choose a secure wallet? Let's see, Alberto, let's start with you.
Well, I have no idea. This is not my field. No, just kidding. A secure wallet, there is no thing such as secure wallet. Nothing is secure, unfortunately. I've learned the hard way. I know how it is to lose everything, even though having a cold wallet. I only didn't have a multi-sign wallet. That's the only thing I didn't ever had. I should get one for the next time. No, how to find a safe wallet? Okay, first of all, why do you need a wallet in this field? We're talking about people that are creating art, among other things, and they are getting paid in cryptocurrencies. In order to get those cryptocurrencies, they require a wallet that can store those cryptocurrencies. Okay, um, there's a marketplace where normally these people sell their art that is called OpenSea, and there is an integration between a wallet that's called MetaMask that basically stores Ethereum cryptos, and well, that's integrated as a Chrome extension, and it makes you very easy for a user without not many knowledge in order to access to their account in OpenSea, which basically the credentials to enter that are the wallet. And well, that is something that is probably not a very good solution of wallets, but I will explain that later. What's a good wallet? Well, a good wallet is having many wallets, not only one. distributing your assets between as many wallets, as many devices as you can. Use one in your cellular, store part of your assets there, one in your desktop, one in your laptop. Use the MetaMask one that you probably use to access for what you sell or what you buy in those markets with the less amount of cryptos that you can have there. Store as little as possible there and distribute. I mean, do not put all the eggs in the same bag. That's a rule. What's the best wallet? Uh, Multiple wallets. I can tell you about cold wallets, about uh, hard wallets, about wallets for cellular. Well, it doesn't matter at the end.
So
Just
what's
diversify.
so for our users out there, what do you think is safer, a software wallet or a hardware wallet?
Depends. If you're going to be raided by the Interpol, I would prefer a soft wallet, but that's another story. No, a cold wallet, it's a wallet that is not connected to any network, and that is a very good solution that I really recommend. It all depends. If you're an artist that has $300 in assets, you are not going to spend $150 on a hardware wallet that is basically something like this. This is a Ledger Nano wallet that probably cost, I have no idea, I less than $100, and this is like a USB drive that you connect to your computer. You store your cryptos here. Then, in order to give them access to any application for transfer the funds, you need to press certain buttons to allow the transactions. Otherwise, the funds will not be transferred. So that's something that gives a layer of security that is very important. But one thing, remember, always buy these things directly from the manufacturer. Do not buy them from eBay. Maybe you can find it on
Yeah.
eBay for a price that is, I don't know, 70% of its original price. The thing is that criminals modify the firmware of these devices, and you are buying this for much less than the original cost, but you store your cryptos, and then your cryptos bye-bye because they're being sent to the cyber criminals that modify the firmware of these devices. So get them from the manufacturer. In this case, it's Ledger. It's one of the most common ones. Then you have also another that Trezor and many other alternatives that I do not mention, I do not recommend. The two options are Ledger and Trezor. Buy them directly from the manufacturers. Don't take risk. And well, that's what I can tell you
All right. So
regarding wallets.
Chris, same question to you. What makes a safe wallet and what do you recommend?
Oh, so the wallets are probably the toughest part of the entire thing because to be honest, there's always exploits inside the wallets and always bugs that you find. I actually like to find the bugs as well in the wallets, but more or less stress test them. And I find some of them are very good in the stress test, and then some of them are more vulnerable, but don't stand up to as much stress. So I've juggled. I probably juggle about 10 at the moment, and various levels of security on all of them. And Alberto's correct. Do not keep all your crypto in one basket. Make sure that when you're giving these addresses out, I use a MetaMask. I started in the MetaMask. I used the Coinbase wallets. I've used and opened up dozens of other wallets. And at the moment, my favorite wallet is the Daedalus on Cardano because it's the safest, in my opinion.
Okay. Let me bring in Delta here real quick and say, what about you? What do you think about it? We talked about, or Chris brought up the bugs in the different software. So what are things that a user can do to kind of keep up with those bugs?
So I'm a little bit more opinionated than Alberto and Chris there on this issue. I recommend, from a security paranoid standpoint, actually only storing your crypto on a hardware wallet such as a Ledger Nano or a Trezor. And if you're going to use the first model of Trezor, make sure that you have the password and the PIN set, because again, we have a saying in the industry: physical access is total access. So if somebody's able to get a hold of the first model of Trezor and they can pull the chip, now this is highly unlikely. Like I said, you'd have to be pretty much targeted, but they can pull the chip off. They can dump the memory, and if you don't have the PIN and the password set on the first model of Trezor, then they can pull the seed phrase out of the memory on the chip. Now, this, on the other hand, I don't believe there's any modern record of the Ledger Nano S getting hacked in any sort of way. Somebody will probably correct me on that later. I'll get blown up on Twitter. But the bottom line is, if you're going to deal with crypto, please, if you can help it, only use a hardware wallet. If you can't afford a hardware wallet, I suggest figuring out how to generate a paper wallet that consists of your public key and your private key printed out. You can scan it later, and then you store those in multiple locations. You might go spend some money on a safety deposit box, maybe multiple safety deposit boxes, and you put the public and the private key in that safety deposit box or multiples, and you keep it there. Never keep it anywhere where somebody can get a hold of you. Also, there's a common error where people don't use they don't use difficult passwords because they can't remember them. That's why I tend to stay away from passphrases, or passwords rather. You'd rather use a passphrase, some concoction of words together. Pick your favorite book. Pick a page number, pick a paragraph, pick a few words out, something you're not going to forget. Slam that together with some case-sensitive characters. You've got a decent passphrase. Don't forget it. Write it down. Keep it in the safety deposit box as well. But make sure that it's not on your premises. Nobody's going to get access to your safety deposit box if they're not you.
All right, thanks, Delta. Let's bring in NFT Princess. So, same questions as an artist. What do you prefer for wallets?
So with wallets, I definitely recommend having, a bunch of different kinds, but it also depends on, the type of crypto that you're expecting for your NFTs, if you're selling or if you're buying. So in that regard, you are already going to have multiple different types of wallets, because if you follow multiple different types of artists, they're going to have their NFTs on different things like Cardano, like Ethereum, like Tezos. So they have different wallets already. There's all different ways to get into your wallets. Seed phrases are really important. And for that, and if you do have multiple wallets, you're going to have multiple different seed phrases. So you can't forget those, and you're definitely not going to remember them for sure, unless you're super intelligent. Some of them are really crazy and some of them are really long, so I definitely recommend writing them down. But I wouldn't ever write them down in your phone. I wouldn't save them like really in an email. I would maybe write them down on a piece of paper, put it in your diary, put that in a lockbox, put it in a safe, put it under your bed, someplace safe. And if you do have multiple different passwords, don't make it something obvious. Don't really have it your birthday. Probably don't just have it like your name or a family member's name. Something that's easy. Don't use the same password that you use for your Gmail or your Facebook or something else that you're going to use for something like your money. That's your money. And if you're easy to guess, if a lot of people know you, if you're so obvious, like NFT Princess, if I use that like as my password and it's my username, like it's too simple. So you really have to switch it up, make it something unique, like Delta was saying, maybe a phrase like in your books or something that you really like, something that you're going to remember. Your favorite drink, maybe something like that. Something like that. So it's something that you can remember, but I would never keep anything like digital. Don't save it in your phone. Don't text it to a friend. Don't text it to your mom.
Yep. And let me add, there's been a lot of cases recently where people have used the same account, same password, and they've stored their seed phrase. We had one person that reached out today that stored their seed phrase in their Google Drive, so when their email got compromised, they got access to that. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's very important that you keep things separate, as Delta said. Keep things separate so that it's harder for somebody to gather all the different pieces that they need to to do damage to you. So,
It's
thank
scary
you.
that there's like, there's a lot of people out there that know a lot more about, getting into things and researching than we do for sure. And it's good that we have like all of us as a team. But for me, like I signed up for this safety app, so it or like a security thing, and it was able to tell me if any of my passwords were hacked or linked through like anywhere. And when it pulled it up, I actually had like 57 like compromised accounts, and it was kind of crazy because like I was using the same password for everything. So when I would create apps, I would use the same password that I would remember, and I used the same password for like all of high school and college. I never really thought anything of it. So a lot of super important things were compromised because I used the same password for everything, but that was the only thing that I can remember. So even if you have multiple different passwords for different websites and apps, that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be the same password. It should never be the same password.
I'm sorry.
Definitely. And if anybody has, just checking for their passwords, there's a website called Have I Been Pwned? And you can actually go to that website, type in your email, and see if it's been in any of the compromise. If it is, change your passwords immediately. But that's one of the first things that you should do. All your accounts, all your emails, go to that site, put it in, see where it's been compromised. So that's really important to do. Second thing is every account. I don't know how many times, and Alberto is showing us his phone because he's saying use two-factor authentication on everything. Can we all say it together? Two-factor.
Hey,
And why is that so important, Mr. Alberto?
No clue. I would no. Basically, if your password is being compromised, you just lose the battle. Your account is gone, and if you're an artist, you are losing the access to your account. You are losing all the network of contacts that you created during. I mean, Princess, I think your account was created in 2010. Am I wrong? Well, you are losing basically all the networks you created for 21 years, uh, all the things that you posted, all your work, all this time that you spent working there, creating your personal branding, it's gone in 1 second. That's something that you don't want. And getting password compromise is something that is not complicated if you know how to do it. It can be done well. It can be done just with something that is a keylogger, for example, just clicking on the wrong link. Well, that just came over. Your account is lost. Your Twitter password is useless. They can steal you if you are logged in. They can steal you the session cookie, and they are actually taking over your account. There are many things. But if you are using two-factor authenticator, then you not only need your password, but in order to access to your account, you need this one-time generated number that lasts for only 60 seconds. In this case, I'm using Google Authenticator that I recommend. It can be used by an app or, for example, SMS. SMS are something that I don't recommend because lately something that is called swim swap is being been a big problem. People getting copies of the SIM cards of other people's, so they were getting the SMS codes for authenticators from other people because of that with social engineering. So use applications instead of SMS verifications, and that's it. I also wanted to say there are other solutions regarding wallet storage to go back in time, but this kind of wallets I prefer to have the worst software wallet that is available than having something like this. I won't mention the brand of this that you have to read, but this kind of hardware wallets for cryptos are something that are for me so unsecure. You have to enter into the website of the seller and connect that wallet to the website in order to have access to the funds. Oh my God, that's something that really scares me. And I think, okay, give me the worst software wallet that you can have instead of giving me this device that gives you a false illusion of safeness when with this there is no safeness at all. Uh, buy a ledger, buy a Trezor. Don't buy something that's cheap that looks oh nice. I can put a PIN number and I can have access to all my cryptos. But when it comes to implementation, it's like okay, you are basically not doing something good. Okay, it's very nice. You can have look at my this is my funds. I have zero BTC, zero LTCs, zero Dash, zero everything. So those who want to rob me, steal me, hack me, go ahead and hack me. You can get zero from everything. I have nothing. So that's one rule. Don't brag about anything that you have when it comes to. You don't have to talk about that any amount of crypto that you manage. You don't have to brag. You don't have to prove anything. Don't talk about cryptos if you don't have to. Don't talk about you handle anything. You don't handle
That's
wallets.
right.
Don't talk about that. If you don't have, shut up because you're giving information that people are going to use against you.
Yeah,
Shut up. Don't talk about it.
we call that operational security.
Yeah.
Keep
For
your
example, here
mouth
I have
shut.
zero. I have zero. So go ahead. I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
nothing.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm going to get him off the screen. Now I'm going to put Chris on the spot here and say, okay, so now we've talked about wallets. We've talked about, the seeds, the passwords. What about backing up your stuff? Backing up your wallet, backing up your accounts. Talk to us about how you suggest to the users how to back up your wallet, your information. Go ahead.
That I use the 2A factor authentication to have security at that layer. And as far as backing up my wallets go, I have used some other security measures inside of the wallets that they all recommend. But as far as backing them up, I keep my seed phrase.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Delta, what about you? What about backups?
So backups are a little extreme. So you have your again, I'm from a paranoid computer security perspective. You have two ways of backing up your wallet, or three. You can physically back up the wallet on a USB drive. That's the little DAT file that's created, or whichever file is physically created on the disk. You can take a copy of that and put it somewhere that's not plugged into the internet. You can back up your seed using pen and paper. What I recommend doing, which is a little more paranoid, is taking that seed and encrypting it with PGP.
Yep, that's great.
Okay. And then the copy of the seed that you have, then you would scan it back into your computer with a physical document scanner. Now that's completely off the wall. Probably nobody's going to do this, but I have done this because I'm that paranoid. That way they have more than just, oh, look, I found a piece of paper with some words on it. Well, you can find a piece of paper, but you're going to have a PGP encrypted pile of garbage as well. So,
all right. Okie dokie. So let's go to Princess. So let's talk about now about updating your stuff. So as we've talked, a lot of these software that is in the ledgers and all these different wallets, they do get updates. What do you tell our viewers about updates to their equipment?
So that's kind of scary sometimes. You don't know what's going to happen to your stuff sometimes when you update things, but sometimes you need those updates in order for your stuff to function properly and at its fullest capacity. So Um, that's really hard. You really have to make the best decision. I would definitely do my research first. I would look up, has anyone had an issue with the new update? How is the update affecting you? I would maybe wait not to do it the very first day that the update comes out for sure. You don't have to be like the first on it, but for sure, if you read a lot of positives, um, I would have your stuff backed up first, and then I would try to see how the update would affect you. I would know like ways around, like reversing it if possible. My brother works with that type of stuff, so he's really been helpful in helping me make some of those types of decisions. He's been in the crypto world since about 2017, and so he's been with the ups and the downs, but he's lost things too that have completely crashed. So he's learned a lot of lessons, and I'm really careful. He's really sometimes turned himself into a bear when it comes to making any type of decision, just because of the types of things that he's been burned with. So sometimes it's hard in making a decision, but do your research, make the best choice for you. But sometimes updates are definitely necessary to make sure that your stuff is functioning, you know, at its fullest capacity.
Yeah, and we talk about, you know, insecurity. We say as soon as there's an update, you do it because you are, there's vulnerabilities in there. There's something that can be used to attack you. But because of the criticality of the stuff that you have, your assets, your money, your crypto that's in there, I think that's a very intelligent way to do it, to say, let's look at the forums. Let's look to see if somebody's had an issue with this package that we're putting in here. And again, like we said, back up your stuff prior to doing a backup. That way you can ensure that what you have is going to be there after. And if you have to recover from a different software and put your backup back there, you're still safe. So that's very important. All right, so let's go to Chris again, and I'm going to ask him a question here. What about this whole VPN thing when doing crypto?
I don't do anything that I need a VPN for, right? So I don't use it because I don't do anything wrong.
Okay. Well, I use VPN every day, 2 or 3 times. It doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong. It's just that I'm encrypting the pipe from me to the point that I need to be. So it's another layer of security when doing something to keep yourself from, number one, being discovered where
Hearing me?
you are. Yeah. So let me go,
Okay,
Delta.
can
Let's
you?
go. Or actually, let's go to Alberto.
Oh God, who was trying to hack me? I mean, I actually didn't.
Still there?
I'm having. What was the question? Sorry, Eric.
About using VPNs when conducting business for NFTs.
Okay, well, when it comes to that, was a question that I think it was Dailala who asked me about VPNs and security. I might be wrong, but when it comes to using VPNs, basically what you are using is a channel that is encapsulated where the traffic goes in following certain path that you set, and that path doesn't represent the actual physical communication between you and where you're trying to communicate. It can be used. I know some people in Uruguay that use that to access to certain content from Amazon Prime that they couldn't access if they were in Uruguay. So that's very useful for. But when it comes to security and accessing to Amazon, it doesn't provide much. It doesn't give you any add value apart from faking your location, which is faking between inverted commas, because actually your location will be known because of cookies that are evil tracing all your activities. So it's not based on your IP that they basically trace you. They trace you because of many patterns right now. So you have no one, no way of hiding probably. But well, when it comes to if you have to use cryptocurrencies and you are in an airport and you have to access to a Wi-Fi that doesn't belong to you, use a VPN. Please use a
Yeah.
VPN because you are using a channel that doesn't belong to you. You don't know who's in charge of that channel, who's controlling that, and uh, anything that goes there is something that can be intercepted and can be redirected. I mean, use a VPN in order to make sure that the connection between you and the point where you want to connect is established via that tunnel, and it doesn't matter whether the medium that you're using is an
Mm.
open Wi-Fi or not. It's just for example, here is a solution that I don't recommend. I don't endorse this solution where you set the country, you just click on
Yeah.
connect, and it's a solution that costs $10 a month. Do not use a free VPN solution. That's something that
Mm-mm.
I do not recommend at all. Don't do that because nothing is free. If you are using a free VPN solution, probably part of the traffic of your internet is being used for things that you wouldn't like to know what they're using that for. So invest money on paying into a VPN
Yeah.
provider. Uh, Regarding
Yeah,
the
and yeah,
logs, for example.
and let's tell our audience, the reason you use a VPN is, not to hide where you are at, even though you can do it. But the reason to use a VPN is to avoid somebody in the middle listening or stealing the data. So you establish a pipe from point A to point B. And what you're trying to avoid is what we call a man in the middle attack. That's the main reason you use a VPN. You can't take the data off the wire, if you will. So it's an important recommendation. It's another layer to protect yourself. So,
That's right. Yeah,
okay.
that's it. I mean, that's it exactly as you said, Eric. The same in a hotel, the same as in any place where you're not in control of the connection. I mean, use a VPN, establish that tunnel that makes you isolated from the actual medium where you're communicated at open Wi-Fi. Use a VPN in those cases. You're
Right.
actually not getting much more than that. That what you mentioned. Yeah.
Okay, Alberto. So take it away then.
Oh, no, actually, I'm using a VPN right now uh, because I otherwise, no, never mind. I'm not using a VPN. Why would I use a VPN? I have nothing to hide. I'm nobody. Why would somebody want to hack me? That's kidding.
All right. So the next question goes to you, to our panel. So go ahead.
Okay, Delilah, tell me, you are an artist, you create digital art, so um I can imagine that you are being approached in so many different ways by people trying to get information about you, try to, I don't know, what I mean. When you say somehow that you are into the NFT community, that you are an artist of NFTs, what happens to you? Uh, do you start getting more amount of direct messages in your social networks than before telling that, or or
For sure.
what happens?
Yeah, for sure. So I've had Twitter for kind of a while, but it wasn't really until I actually listed and put that I was a digital artist or, NFT artist on anything with NFTs, anything with cryptos. As soon as I started using those hashtags and, even NFT community, all of those different hashtags that we use all the time, it's really brought some people that I never really had before. I have my messages private, but I still am able to get message requests, and they're always like, "Hey Delilah, what's up?" Hi NFT princess, I love your art. Can we collab? Click here to see some of my art. Like, what do you think about joining this community? And they're all scammers. nobody's real. They have little to no followers, but they're following a lot of people. No profile picture, really attractive profile pictures. Sometimes it's your own artwork, so it's kind of scary. I've also been approached in person, by different people. When I was in Miami Art Basel, actually, I was approached by some people just because they knew that NFTs were the hype, that they knew a lot of different people were in town, and they were trying to take advantage of the people that didn't really know those types of things, just by using flashy words and trying to get your attention. So it's kind of scary.
Wow, yeah. I mean, somebody's asking, how do you identify a puppet account on Twitter? I would Google that. How do I identify? Anybody can answer that? Because I cannot answer that.
So there's a couple ways. Number one, you're gonna look at the followers to like how many people they're following versus how many people are following them. Number two, you can run through a site called TinEye. You can download a copy of their avatar, or full screen their avatar, grab that copy, run it through a site called TinEye. TinEye will do a reverse image search to see how many times that image has been used on the internet, and also show you images that are similar. Typically, if it's like if you're just like a random NFT guy that's never joined a space, and if you're sharing screenshots of your wallet with thousands of dollars of cryptocurrency in it, of course that cute girl that you've never talked to before in your life is gonna message you and be like, "Hey, uh, if you want to like chat and send sexy pictures back and forth, click this link." Well, for me, it's really easy not to get caught in that because, well, number one, I'm ugly. There's no straight 10 that's going to be like, hey, let's go on a date. So just be aware that if you're flashing large amounts of cryptocurrency and screenshots,
Just for the
some
records,
really pretty girl.
I think you're pretty handsome. I would date you, Delta. Just for
Dude,
the
you've
record,
got the
you're pretty
beard.
handsome.
You've got you've got it,
You're
man.
pretty
Come on.
handsome, man.
All
There's
right,
there's a lot
Chris.
of other sock puppets out there on Twitter, especially in the Twitter Spaces, and actually all around. Look out for those. Drop your wallet here, or give me Oh, I'm MetaMask support. Let me help you with your account. Oh, let me help you with that. You're stuck. Give me access. No problem. Let me fix it.
Yep.
But by that point, you're pretty desperate.
Fill out
So
this
be careful.
fill out this Google form so we can get the pigeon out of your bank account. You might have bird flu.
I would also be really careful for, some of the newer artists or people that are in the community that are following somebody specific, or you're trying to get the hype of them. Like, I was trying to work on building my portfolio and getting on foundation, so I was like using foundation searches, and I was getting a lot of emails and even mentions and attention and comments from people saying that they had like foundation invites, click here, send me money for invites. And I also had a lot of people messaging me that weren't verified. It would say like OpenSea, but it wasn't verified, but it would say something like misleading, or kind of like like a carrot that you'd want to follow. And it's really scary because you want to click on those things. You want your favorite person to be sending you a message that you've been liking. You want Gary Vee to notice you. But there's people that have those same similar names, but they're not verified. So check if they're verified. If it seems a little wild, if it seems like it's your favorite person, you want to open it, but do your research a little bit. Check to see how many tweets they have is something else that I like to do. I like to check their media really quick. I like to just check to see what all is on that profile before I go any further. But I don't open any message requests. 99.9% of the time, they're not real. So
All right, so we see a lot of phishing emails, DMs, Instagrams, as you guys have mentioned. There's a lot of them, and most of them have phishing links in it, or smishing, which is SMS, or even now we got the vishing stuff, which is your voicemail stuff.
Yes.
Let's talk about how, as a user, do we identify those things other than some of them are just ridiculous?
Yes.
But number one, let's break this into number one, how do I identify those emails? And number two, what can happen when you click one of those emails? So let's start with how do I identify those emails?
Unsolicited. If you didn't ask for it, and if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that I've seen in the computer security industry. Number one is emails that, number one, like Driving said, are not solicited in any way. This is not a service you asked for. Number two, 99.99% of the time, it's going to come from a non-SSL encrypted connection. And you can go look at the headers of the email, or it'll say, on Google or Gmail or whatever, this was sent from a non-secure connection. Typically, when you look at the body of the email, you're going to see a lot of grammatical errors because the people that are executing this probably aren't from native English speaking communities. And last but not least, they're typically not going to spend the money for a TLD that is a top level domain that's expensive. So you're going to see a lot of .co.cc, .xyz, a lot of TLDs, top level domains that are very, very cheap per month. I'm talking like $1. So if it sounds too good to be true, if you see that it's not from a verified sender, there's no SSL on the connection, there's grammatical errors, and a Nigerian prince is promising to transfer all these bitcoins to your wallet if you just click here and scan the QR code, don't do it.
There's a Nigerian prince somewhere going, I've been trying to give all my worth, and nobody collects the email. Sorry, that's a joke. So that's number one. Also, I just want to add, to protect yourself, if you're on a computer, if you are on a desktop, hover your mouse over the link, and you'll see in the bottom the actual link information. If you see a lot of characters, it's very long, that's probably 99% that it's a phishing email or phishing link. So what happens to the users when they click that link, when they go to that fake page? Alberto, let's go ahead. What happens when somebody clicks?
So, what happens is basically game over. The hackers won the challenge. You are probably executing a remote code that is maybe establishing what is called a reverse HTTPS connection between your computer and a computer that is a computer of the criminals that takes controls of your PC to all of it. I mean, you lose control of your computer. It can execute any kind of malware, ransomware, keyloggers. Basically, you lose control of the computer and you give the criminals access to the tools they need to have access to your passwords, your accounts. Game over. You click, and unfortunately, that's it. You lose the game. There's nothing you can do because affected. This kind of malware, it's not like 10 years ago where this if you were going to execute something like that, my antivirus used to say, warning, a virus has been identified. Now I haven't heard that for ages. I don't know what's wrong with my antivirus. I mean, either my antivirus is deactivated. Yeah, I do that sometimes to run some video rendering, but I don't recommend that. But I don't hear that anymore. These pieces of malware are so advanced that I mean, they're obfuscated in such a good way that they are not being detected by no common antivirus solutions. I recommend you, for example, if you are not lazy like me, you can basically copy that link and go to go to virustotal.com or any kind of other service where you can scan that URL and actually see what it does instead of, I mean, just to make sure that it is something that is malicious, because your antivirus will probably not detect it and you are losing control of your computer. That's it, basically, in plain English, what happens. Game over.
Yes, that's one type of phishing attack. Yes. The other type is the common type they use in bank phishing. So let's use your bank for example. You get an email that says, "Hey, there's a problem with your account, with your bank. Click here." Now, then you're immediately presented with a page that looks exactly like your bank's login page. Now, what's happening is they want you to put the password, the username, your phone number, all these things in. And then when you click submit, what you're doing is you're sending that data to the attacker. And typically, what they'll do after that is they will forward you to the legitimate page and you'll be back at the login screen. Sometimes you'll think nothing of it, like, oh, I wonder why I didn't log in. Maybe I mistyped my password. Well, by then, it looks so legit because, I've seen phishing campaigns that use legitimate SSL. I've seen phishing campaigns that literally do run malicious code on the host itself. And then you have a bigger problem because they're not only compromising one service, they're compromising any service with a password. So it's just being very vigilant and realizing that unless the URL that you're clicking at in your browser matches the service that you're signing into, don't input the information. The same goes with QR codes, because you can be phished via QR as well.
That's correct. You can be phished by multiple ways. So, make sure that the website that you're in is legit, and that you're using the right place and you're not clicking any links. If, Coinbase NFT sends you an email, there's a problem with your account, close that email, go directly to the site on something else. Okay, so now I'd like to move on to another topic here, and I'd like our panel to tell us, about these horror stories that they've heard or have experienced yourself in the industry. So let's start with you. Come on.
Okay, so horror stories. I've only been in the NFT community for a little under a year, but it's crazy. You want to be so trusting because you need to build your community. You need to build your little group. You need to find where you fit in, and you want to extend your name. You want people to know you, so you want to be trusting because you want others to trust you. But it's hard sometimes when you're burned because then you recoil so much. Something that happened to me is just getting into Twitter Spaces and talking to people. They're super nice and they kind of want you to like reach out and talk to them, and they get you to where you feel comfortable. And then something that happened to me is they were like, "Oh, Delilah, you like NFTs?" I was like, "Yeah, I love NFTs." And they asked what my favorite one was, and I was like, "Oh, I really like my own." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Can we see some of your work?" And I, let people. I shared my work. I pinned it to the top. We've done it 1,000 times, and so I shared it, and someone just right click, saved, reposted, put it up on their Twitter, and was like, "Thanks for the NFT. You don't have to purchase an NFT to have an NFT. It's just an image." And so that hurt my feelings because I worked really hard on it, and they were kind of making fun of it. And but people can right click, save, and steal your things if they're not doing it the correct way, if they're not following along, if they're just trying to tease you, if they are trying to like steal your work. So I guess that was a horror story, something simple that happened to me. I didn't actually steal it. It's still minted on the blockchain for me, but the fact that they just like copy and
Yeah.
pasted was kind of
It was an insult. It was an
It was
insult.
an insult.
Yeah.
And something else that happened when I was in Miami, this guy did approach me, and he was like, I'm going to draw a picture of this pretty girl. I'm just going to draw a picture of you. And he whips out a piece of paper, and he starts drawing something really quickly. And he was like, it's an NFT. I'm going to give it to you, and you can sell it, and you're going to make money. It's worth money. This is an NFT. And he's like holding a piece of paper. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, you can have this. This is an NFT. You just have to pay me, and then you're going to get money for this. And I was like, oh, okay. Here's my business card. I actually create NFTs. And he's like, you what? And I was like, here's my business card. And he was like, oh. And he got like all startled and kind of flustered. And he took my card, but I don't think he kept it. And he just kept walking and tried to scam somebody else. But, there's crazy people out there.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go driving. Tell us about
All
your horror
right.
stories.
So the community is one other story, but like the main horror story I kind of feel like I had and I ran into was I sent money across from an exchange to a wallet. And that was like a long time ago, right? And what happened was the wallet didn't recognize the money for what it was. So for over a year before it finally updated, it wouldn't let me move or trade the money. And it was more of a personal thing. But as far as the community goes, there's people who like to bash other artists. And I'm a supporter of lots of artists, so I really don't like to see that type of thing. So anytime I see somebody trying to put someone else's art or project down, I really don't like that. So for me, when you're making non-fungible tokens for artwork, nobody should be putting that down. That's artwork of the person. So
Correct.
I don't like to see that.
Okay, wonderful. All right, Mr. Delta, let's go.
You want horror stories from Delta? Man, I've got. How much time you
Well,
got?
give me one. Give me just one.
Okay.
So, the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me is I literally, when I first got into Bitcoin, this is, years ago, probably 2010, like the beginning of 2010, before, like, the only people that heard about cryptocurrency were, like, the shady security advocates, right? Or the security researchers with beards like mine and hats. I had gotten a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin, and I went online and I was like, oh, what's a Bitcoin doubler? Oh, well, that's a scam where they say, oh, you send us, $200 in Bitcoin, and we'll double your Bitcoin in 24 to 48 hours. So, you just got into cryptocurrency. You don't know anything about it. This is like, I knew nothing. I was just like, hey, I've got ASCII hash strings on my hard drive, Mom. And I sent off $200, and they were like, hey, thanks. And I never saw that money again. Yeah. If you send your cryptocurrency elsewhere to a place you'd rather not send it, you're not getting it back. It's not redeemable. There's no cryptocurrency police that are going to come take a report and try to get your wallet back. It's gone. So just...
And that's a very big point that our community needs to hear and our audience needs to hear, is that because it is a decentralized currencies, there's not one area. There's not a customer service of Bitcoin out there. So you need to be smart with your assets. Be it an NFT, be it crypto, you need to be smart, you need to protect yourself, and you need to know where you're sending. Double, triple check your stuff.
It is a decentralized ecosystem, and therefore the attacks and the vulnerabilities are also decentralized. They'll come at you from any direction they possibly can. Earlier you mentioned operational security, OPSEC. The other thing I wanted to bring up is keeping your online identity. Like, I introduced myself with my real first and last name, followed by my screen name. Normally I don't do that, but my face is on camera. What I need to stress is you need to, especially if you're dealing with art and life, you need to do that separately. Your online identity needs to be separate from your real life identity. Your passwords for your online identity need to be separate from your real life identity. The two don't mix. Okay? Cookies and lies don't mix. So if if you're in a Twitter space and you have all these people and you're talking, all it takes is one person to get very angry at what you're saying, and you become a target like the person I mentioned earlier. I mean, she had her car hacked. She had her life hacked. They literally stole her identity, drained her bank account. She became a real life capture the flag contest because she let people know she had crypto. So operational security is very important. So is communication security. All the other securities. Search up the meme. Practice safe sex. SECS. And just there's a meme. It's a guy. He's got 5 fingers up, and it lists all the different types of security. And you need to research each one and how to keep online and real life identities separate. It's very important.
Correct. All right, Alberto.
Okay,
Comments?
no, yeah, I'm not telling my worst nightmare regarding cryptocurrencies because you have to buy my book to read about it or my coming NFT book about it. No, but when entering into this community, I realized the relevance of doxing, how doxing was playing a major role in the community, and it's something related about with what Delta was saying. And well, one of the first things that somebody told me a story about hacking was terrible. It was a person from Mexico City, was an artist that had sold a certain pieces of art and made some money. Well, he was identified by criminals. They knew his name, the name of his family, his address, his telephone number, and he started receiving death threats because they wanted him to give them what he had. And that's terrible. I mean, his life was being threatened by these guys that had access to all the information about him, his family, his children, his wife. That's something that is really a nightmare and something that people must know. I don't know in this case in Mexico in particular, but if there's no physical connection or this kind of death threats, if it comes only to the virtual world, people must know that the police will not help you at all. So it's a waste of time to go to the police and report these kind of issues because you will just waste your time. You will get upset. They won't help you at all. The police will not help you in any way when it comes to any kind of these crimes. If you're a victim of these kind of crimes, well, uh, it's something that unless you are a celebrity, unless you are somebody who's very famous, has a lot of power, well, don't waste your time. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you are in the USA, in Uruguay, UK, or Australia. The police won't do anything. It's a waste of time. So you have to know you will have to deal with that situation yourself. So be prepared to that. And yeah, there's another issue. Okay, you are an artist, and maybe you want to use your name as a personal branding in order to promote your work. So I mean, in my case, I use my real name, my real image. You can Google me and you will find my address, my telephone number. I mean, my credit card information with the 3 digits of verification in Google because I don't remember that. So I look up in Google. But, you will find everything about me. Okay, that's something that I use it because I want to show people that I am who I say I am. And people can smell when somebody is pretending to be somebody who is not. I want to show people that I am somebody who they can trust, that is really trying to help them, that is not having any kind of. I'm not looking to take advantage on anybody. I mean, you have just to interact with me and know me, and that's it. And you can. I mean, I won't use the argument. I have nothing done wrong. So I mean, I am myself. When I say I am, I am. what you see on the internet about me is myself. There are things that if people read that will say, "Oh my God, this guy! Look at those pictures from the internet. This guy is very dangerous." Okay, I don't care. That's me, and that's the person I am. And okay, you can trust me or not, but if you want to be an artist and use your name as your personal branding, it's a question that is very complicated because you're being exposed to these kind of situations that are very dangerous. So you will go to the spaces and you will see people with pictures of animals, nicknames, and if you see somebody with a real name and a picture of a person, that person is probably somebody who is a criminal infiltrated there because that person doesn't belong to the community of NFT.
Yeah, I guess I should preface this with my views expressed on this show are from an extremely security oriented paranoid point of view.
Yeah. And that's not bad. I mean, a little bit of paranoia in this environment. We all know with the cryptocurrency, NFT, it's still a wild west. It is
Yes.
still very much a wild west. And you are incredibly correct when you say that police, the laws in many different countries have not kept up with security. And because of that, if you suffer some crimes, some crime activity, if you become a victim of somebody scamming you, stealing your stuff, et cetera, you are probably not going to get any support from local law enforcement or federal enforcement. So it is up to you to protect yourself. And as we've talked here tonight, we've had a lot of different methods to protect yourself. Make sure, one of the big ones is make sure you're not using weak passwords. Make sure you're not using the same passwords in your wallets, your Gmail, your Facebook, your Twitter. The other part that I always like to say to people is make sure that you use the best methods to secure your social media. Most of the NFT community is on Twitter, and people don't secure their own Twitter. And Twitter takeovers happen on a daily basis. So, Chris, what do you say about better ways to protect yourself online there?
Well, I first off definitely start with be careful with what you click and what you ask for. Because if you ask for it, if you ask to get hacked, or you go looking for something you really shouldn't be looking at, protect yourself in that way. One thing about that MetaMask wallet is be safe. Don't be browsing Facebook and then click on a link and think you're on your MetaMask and paying for the NFT. Go back to your wallet, go back into your actual browser in the wallet, and go back in through there. Because I used to almost get phished like 10 times a day just looking at people's NFTs, just trying to look at them. It would fish me to some random site that you would think is OpenSea, and then the next thing you know, it's got you clicking on it, and you're not even in the right place anymore. So that's one method. Use the right browser. Proper browsers are probably key here. And make sure anytime if you scan a QR code, don't just sign something that pops up. And if you click something by accident and it prompts you to type in your password, you better think once, twice, 3, 4 times. And yeah, I like to stay secure that way. And
okay.
So,
Delta, go ahead.
So, another way I like to look at QR codes, you have to be very careful, and I'm extremely paranoid about QR codes because I've seen all manners of things be done via QR code. I mean, I've seen QR codes you scan and it pops an app up on your phone. I've seen QR codes that drop cookies on computers. I've seen QR codes that reboot your phone. So one thing I like to do is, if it is possible, when the QR code pops up, what you can do is you can right click on that QR code, and save a copy of it, because it's usually an image, and then you can go to any online QR code decoder and you can upload that image, and it will rip apart the QR code and tell you what is behind that QR code that you're scanning. That's what I like to do. I recommend everybody do it. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. That takes too much effort. I just want to boom, 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 boom. But literally 10 extra minutes could theoretically save you thousands of dollars. Please, if you can, save a local copy of the QR code and decode it first.
Alberto?
Well, actually, I think they have said the most important things. I mean, to sum up, don't click or scan or input anything that you don't know what you're inputting in. I mean, either it's a QR code, it doesn't matter from where you're getting that information into your computer. Just think. I mean, sometimes they try to use urgency or they try to put pressure on you in order to take a decision to quick. I mean, like, okay, you have to do this now, otherwise you will lose the access to your account, or this will no. I mean, always stop for a second, think, and then act. And most of the time, you won't act after thinking for a second. As Chris was saying earlier, if you are not expecting a certain kind of communication email, then be suspicious. If you get any kind of communication from anybody by any way, Discord, DM of Twitter, and you have the doubt because maybe that person, you know it, and that message doesn't make much sense. Okay, it's much easier to grab the telephone and call the person and ask him, okay, did you send me this? Instead of making that fatal mistake of clicking and losing everything. Spend some time, uh, grab the map. If you have a doubt, grab the telephone, call the person, contact the person in another way, and ask him, "Did you send me this?" Before clicking anywhere, doing anything that you are not expecting to do, or it sounds or looks suspicious. Just think. I mean, and don't trust anybody. Yeah, unless guilty until proven innocent, like in Uruguay. So, no, I mean, you have to understand that you don't know who's behind the computer in social networks. You don't know who you're talking to. It can be anyone. You don't have no idea. So be very careful. Try to think of the word like Delta. Be paranoid. Think like, okay, I'm in front of this beautiful blonde woman that is trying to approach. Okay, I'm not that lucky. That's very suspicious. I mean, that would never
Yeah,
happen to
Delilah.
me. That girl is probably crazy trying to know. I mean, yeah, be paranoid. I mean, if it's too good to be true, yeah, it's too good to be true. So, I mean, those things doesn't happen in Twitter, right? Everybody, I think we agree on that. So, yeah, you didn't win the lottery. The prince of Nigeria didn't want to give you his money. That's all, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, Eric, but I have to tell you the
Alberto
truth.
doesn't want to give you any money either. He's broke on purpose.
I show you. I have zero, zero, zero.
So I do want to comment, if any of you absolutely must buy an NFT, if you have to buy an NFT, make sure you check the policy IDs. And you can check the hex code on the maybe IPFS to make sure you're buying the proper collection.
Yes. Yes.
Can you explain a little bit more about what's
Yeah.
that, Chris?
So when you make a collection, I believe they get minted under a certain policy, and a collection or an artist will usually publicly post that policy ID everywhere, because that's the tokens. That's where you go to buy the real stuff, and you can cross-reference that using a few tools like possibly Pinata. and some other ones. So make sure you check the policy ID for all the collection of the tokens. If you absolutely have to buy and you want to double check it's from the right artist, it has the right contract in it, you want to know it's exactly what you were planning on buying. And buy from your
Cardano
heart.
Scan. For Cardano-based NFTs, there's Cardano Scan. For Ethereum, there's Etherscan or ETHScan or whatever that is. All a policy ID is a long series of letters and numbers that kind of looks like a password hash. You just cross-reference that on the published artist site versus the policy ID that you see when you pull up that NFT. You make sure you're sending the money to the wrong place, or right place rather. Yeah, send the money to the wrong place. No, don't do that. Check the policy ID. Make sure you're sending the money to where it needs to go. Because the last thing you want to do, for example, is go, oh, hey, look, a Bored Ape. Let me drop 25 grand on, and it's gone. Because it will be. It'll be gone. You're not getting that back. There's no magical internet crypto fairy that's going to be like, here's your money back. Not happening. Check the policy IDs. Dig through the smart contracts. Only invest in NFTs that are minted on, audited chains. Make sure any cryptocurrency you invest in, make sure that's audited as well.
So for, audience that is just starting in the field here, what do you, again, I'm going to be very broad here, but what do you think the safest exchanges for a beginner are?
Well, I guess I legally have to say this is not an endorsement, but if I had to, because I don't want to get any intellectual property strikes by using any company names, but if I had to, and this is not financial advice, a lot of people don't like them, but I mean, there's Binance, as far as getting cryptocurrency securely from one place to another. They have two-factor authentication. There's Coinbase in the US. There's KuCoin for non-US people. Basically, you want to make sure that you can't just have the, that they require you to punch in 2FA, that they require, if you're going to have, cryptocurrency on an exchange and you're going to be buying NFTs, I suggest that you make sure that, number one, they are registered as a company in a reputable jurisdiction. I see a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges that people are like, oh, well, there's this exchange. And then I look and I see something like they're registered in the Republic of Seychelles. And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not throwing my crypto there, and I'm definitely not giving them a scan of my ID or my passport or whatever. To
Nice place to visit.
If I had the money, I would, but I'm definitely not banking there. You understand what I'm saying? That's the difference.
And I have 000. I can go anywhere.
I can't go anywhere. This thing is broken anyway. I put it through the washers, so there's no crypto on it.
Yeah, my recovery card of my Leisure is like, I can't recover anything. It's empty. I cannot recover anything.
So, I didn't buy this from Ledger. I got this one from Amazon, so don't do that.
I am giving away to any viewer a couple of wallets from Ledger. It's a giveaway, so all you have to do is send a message at #hacker in Twitter, and I will give away these devices. I will send them tomorrow after I do something with them. I have to verify certain things, and I will give them away. Okay, Eric, I will send one to you because you are a good guy. One of the wallets will go to you. This one will go for you, and these are very trustable. So
yeah,
don't ask me why I have so many. I have an explanation. It's just because I'm
not gonna backdoor the firmware at all. Swear to God.
No.
Hey, just a reminder, don't tell anybody your seed phrase. Just a quick reminder, don't ever tell anybody. Like, even if they ask,
are cool.
Or nicely. Don't.
Yeah, if somebody asks you for your seed phrase, simply like tell them something. Like if you have to tell them something, if they have a gun to your head, or in the extreme case, just rattle off, I don't know, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, wombat, cat, black, truck, uh, pineapple, and then they
Dude,
write
that's
it
my seed
down.
phrase. Shot. Stop.
Hey, don't admit to it. Come on now.
All right. So, Delilah. So, uh, what about you? What are the recommendations from an artist on the other side? What are